right, welcome to the Action Martial Arts Power Hour. This is a show where we talk about anything and everything martial arts related and beyond. There are times we don't know what's going on, but we make it enjoyable, we make it entertaining. And this is the brainchild of Alan Goldberg, and let me bring him on so he can tell you what's going on. Alan, the floor is yours.
How you doing, folks? Everyone is doing great. This is a type of show that, again, we talk about anything, but we have a special guest on. We're waiting for another one, but we have one on right now. And we have special guest Kathy Long, five-time world kickboxing champion, if I'm not mistaken. And I know that because you said it, but Joe Rebelo knows that because it's in his memory for 25 years already. So. But we got some great guests on. As a matter of fact, tonight I booked a lot of people for the future shows. We have next week, we got Jeff Smith, and we have Christine Bannon Rodriguez on next week.
Nice.
So that should be an interesting show. And what I'd like to do from now on in the shows, I'd like to bring a woman on and a man, two special guests every week. So we have a little flavor going on that people could look at and say, well, these guys are not they're doing the right thing at least, But got something I want to speak to before we bring our special guest in. We're starting the new channel, the Amen channel, and Dennis and I have been working on different things and getting different materials together. And one of my friends that's working with me, he's an old student, has his own channel called YFN. He's connected to over 4 billion households throughout the world. And he's making up some stuff. He made a beautiful clip on a Sonny Chiba movie. It was a 30-minute clip at the beginning, from our company with the logo and all. And Facebook got a little bit of a play on it, but he put it out to his channel, and he thought it was a mistake because within 2 days, he got over 12,000 hits on the video and kind of blew him away. And again, see Dennis smiling over there. But 12,000 hits, which is like unheard of. But he told me like this. He goes, "You're going to see, open up a world that's never been done before. You're going to get people inundating you." He invited us to some big broadcasting parties that they're going to have sponsors and stuff there. He goes, "When you guys get this thing going, they're going to be falling all over you because it's never been done correctly." And I really think that if we do this correctly, it's going to last for a long time. We have over 200 Kung Fu movies right now. We're working on some other product. I've been speaking to other people. With Kath, I'd like to offer it to you too. We'd like to get people's podcasts and also put them on the TV show. So where you may get a certain amount from what you're doing, we could run between the movies and stuff. We could run a podcast. And I just think it's good because it gets everyone's word out there. And I think people would be interested even to watch that, on the TV channel. They don't want it, that's fine too. We're going to have some good content for them to play with. Dennis, you have anything to say about that before we go?
I think you pretty much completed it. It's been unexpected that it would blow up that big. I figured it would take a lot longer, but when we get this done, I got that feeling that it's going to be the biggest thing that the martial arts world has ever seen.
He said to me, it may be the biggest thing on that. It's on Roku also. And he said, we're also looking at the Roku, the Amazon and Apple might pick it up after a few months. Yep. So we may be all over the world with this thing. And I think it's going to do well. Well, listen, let me not hold back. I want to bring our special guest on. And she's looking good. And she's done a lot. I know you're running around, you're working with the Waco team and doing things like that now too. So I would like to give her the title Master Grandmaster, but let's give her the 5-time world champion, Kathy Long. Kathy, how you doing?
I'm really good. How are you doing?
Great. Yeah, the COVID, I'm still stuck at home, basically. New York is a horror, just like California, but we're doing good. But we're working at home, unfortunately. But it gives us time to do things.
No, I was lucky to escape California about a year and a half ago. Moved up to Washington State, and not that it's more relaxed. It's not, but it's a lot smaller. So everybody who's getting vaccinated has a chance of getting it much faster than they would in California, for example, because that state is huge. So it's a lot harder to get vaccinated anytime soon. Peace in the sun here. Keep
It'll look like it's all gonna, within a couple months, it's gonna be at least 3/4 of the country will be done. So hoping that works out good. But I want to hand you over to our good, we call him Wikipedia Joe. Unfortunately, he knows things about people he shouldn't know.
Oh, really?
But yeah, no, Joe. The old story is when I met Joe, I was gonna hit him after we spoke because he knew too much about me, and I was looking at him like, "How do you know that?" But let me just hand it over to as our guy Kempo Joe, or we all know him as Wikipedia Joe. Joe, all yours.
Hi, Joe.
Thank you very much, folks. Kathy, it's great to see you again. And, I first of all, I've got to say it's all due to Alan Goldberg that we actually got to meet at the action event. Again, I followed your career for many years. I'm kicking myself because I was hoping to have more of your various DVDs and videos. I have everything from Knights and The Stranger and Under the Gun with Richard Norton. And I know it's not the first issue, but tell me about this. April 1991. I know that wasn't the first cover you were featured on.
Well, let's get that closer, Joe. I'm going to put you on solo.
You bet. Let's pull it up.
I guess they're calling me the Queen of Mean on that particular magazine.
At least I picked a better name when I asked you earlier. So
the new Queen of Full Contact. The new Queen of Full Contact. So let's talk about your early career. Now, again, I know you from a little known town in California, Bakersfield, California. And,
the armpit of America.
Yep. Well, I've been there, so I will neither confirm nor deny. One of my old girlfriends is from there. So, but talk to us. Now, your first art was Kung Fu Sansu, if I'm not mistaken.
No. My first art was
really?
Aikido, and I achieved my Shodan in Aikido. And then while I was doing that, I was also studying Shoin-ryu. And then I got into Kung Fu Sansu, which is my true love. Kickboxing aside, Kung Fu Sansu is really where I shine. I think I do that better than I do kickboxing, but kickboxing was just something I happened to get into, and just it's kind of weird how my very first fight in kickboxing was against a girl who was 190 pounds. She was 5'3". I was 5'5" at 120, and she challenged me to fight her in a kickboxing match, and I had never done it. And before that, she kept challenging me to compete against her in point fighting, and I said, I don't do that kind of fighting. Because I stick my fingers in people's eyes and hit them in the windpipe and stomp on their knees and crush their testicles, things that actually work in a fight. So I said, look, I don't compete that way. And finally, her instructor called my instructor, my Kung Fu Sansu instructor, and asked if I'd be willing to do an exhibition. The air quotes, right? Exhibition. Yeah, so-called. So I said, what do I get to do? They explained that in the rules, I have to wear gloves, but I'm allowed to punch and kick as hard as I want to. And I said, I can punch and kick as hard as I want? Okay, it's on. And I had 10 days to learn how to do kickboxing. Yeah. And when we had the fight,
you did well though. Okay.
Thank you very much. I think it was just fear. Fear is an amazing motivator for me.
Yeah.
Now, for our viewers here on Vero Hive and the Alan Goldberg Power Hour, Kung Fu Sansu is a very unique kung fu system popularized in California by Jimmy H. Wu, and it takes essences of the legend goes his grandmaster stole 5 books from the Shaolin Temple and took the essences that he learned from the books and put them into practical self-defense. And Kung Fu Sansu on the West Coast is very much known for its practical self-defense. Now, after that first match, were you bit by the bug and wanted to get involved? How did it all come to continuing in kickboxing after that first match?
Well, I was so scared during that fight because she was huge and I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And all I could think of was I got to hit her as fast and as hard as I can. And that's all I could think of. So that adrenaline rush is something that you literally cannot replace. There's no drug that'll give you the same adrenaline rush as getting into an altercation like that, or getting into, a fight, literally, whether it's on the street or in a ring or a cage or whatever. There's nothing that can replace it. So in that respect, I was hooked and immediately addicted. Immediately. So I just thought, I'm going to try it again. And I did some amateur boxing for a little while to improve my hands, because I could definitely kick. And then I got into a few amateur kickboxing bouts. And, I just, all my sparring partners were men. And all the men that I sparred with were already U.S. champions, world champions, state champions. So they beat the crap out of me constantly. My main sparring partner was John Adams, who his ring name was the Iceman, and he patterned all of his fighting after Troy Dorsey, who was a world champion in kickboxing and boxing.
Right.
Yeah, and he was just on you like white on rice. He just would not let up. He was constantly pressure. And I learned after a while of getting hit in the head. After a long time of getting hit in the head, I learned to finally move and counter, and it was just a huge experience of trial and error. As I was figuring things out, I'd get another fight, and I just kept experiencing. Everything I practiced in the ring, or I tried to practice in the ring in sparring, I would have tried to apply in a fight. And it wasn't until, I don't know, it wasn't until a couple of years later that I finally got the hang of things and I wasn't getting beat up every single day. Yeah, talk about trial by fire, right?
And Kathy, you're going to add something to your resume. This is the first time in all the shows we've done that anyone has stumped Wikipedia Joe. No one has stumped him but you. And you.
How did I do that?
Because he got.
Yeah, I was going to say too. Yeah.
Well, what, didn't you have a little misinformation earlier?
No.
You did. Just agree with me.
Oh, about the first rank. Yeah, that's true. No, he's right.
Yeah,
he's right.
You see, right, I know I was right. Oh, I was trying to save you, Joe. Just agree with me because I was right.
Well, Kathy, someone.
There we go.
Someone was just talking the other day about Vince. Kathy, someone was just talking the other day about yet another accolade you have. Vincent?
Well, in Kung Fu Sun Tzu, because we practice, the way we practice is based on a reaction principle, which means that I don't pull my shot. I actually put my fingers in your eyes and I drive your head back. I always go through my target. So when I hit the groin, guys usually wear groin protectors and they respond accordingly as if they really got hit, because that's realistic. I mean, way too often I see people practicing where they hit the guy in the groin, or they've got a big, huge red suit on, and it's not realistic. They just stand there and they get hit, but they're not reacting. The nice thing about, because when I bounced in a bar for 2.5 years, I actually stuck my fingers in people's eyes and hit them in the groin and hit them in the windpipe and stomped on their knees. And you know what? It works.
There you go.
It works really well. On the fly, because by the time I was bouncing in that bar, I was already a black belt in Aikido and Kung Fu San Tzu. So in that respect, I did a lot of practicing. And, on big, giant, belligerent, drunk, people have delayed pain reaction. Yeah, you learn a lot. You learn an absolute,
real fast.
Now, I was just going to recently say that in the internet, they've been mentioning about different accolades, and you have an accolade that no other female martial arts can ever say. You were the first female judge at the first UFC.
No, I was not a judge. I was not a judge.
No?
I was a commentator.
Stump number
Yeah,
two.
Well, you were the
Number two.
Lou's gonna bust my cookies all night long.
Yeah.
But again, you were
Until
the
you grow
first
those
female
nails,
commentator
again.
at the UFC.
And
I pull
by
out my
the way,
hair. I got none left. You know, it's like
not only was I the first, but I am the only female commentator that ever
only.
was on the UFC. Crazy. I don't know why they don't have females, but so be it. It's okay.
Yeah, you would think they would have someone doing, commentary or doing other things. They have women doing the interviews in a locker room and everything. They should have them ringside. They should have them doing the color. They should have them doing that stuff because you have a lot of champions out there.
You're right. And, there are people who are actually, comfortable in front of the camera and can actually speak.
Mm-hmm.
And I did color commentating before. It's just that during that particular time, I was cut off a lot, but
Really?
yeah, there were several people talking, especially Bill Wallace, who, when he had the headphones on, he was tuned into whoever the producer was, who was telling him things to say, which meant that he would just cut me off. So be it. It's okay.
We don't do that here, though. We let
to do
Kathy talk. That's it. We let you talk.
Is Rusty around?
She's at the school.
Okay.
Teaching
All right.
now.
I was gonna say bring her on too, but anyway,
Oh, that'd be awesome.
give her my regards.
I certainly will. Thank you.
So Joe, go on. What else you got to say?
Another question I had. Boy, I'm getting corrected all night long. Let's see how I do with this
2.
one. All right,
You're
so
going for 3.
Here you go. All right, so we got to talk about your movie career.
Right.
Again, I'm fortunate enough to have copies of course, Knights, The Stranger, Under the Gun, I believe, with Richard Norton. Let's talk about Knights. Now, that was directed by Albert Pyun, and that was a really kind of a futuristic, sci-fi, post-apocalyptic film. How did you get involved in that?
Well, after my last world title fight, which was in Thomas and Mack Center in Las Vegas, Albert Pyun approached me and said, "What's that?"
Karate Mania? I believe that's what it was called. I know that's what the VHS video.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I don't know what it was called. I don't remember. I think it was Karate Mania. You're right. But no, that was another one. That was when I was in Lake Tahoe. Ooh,
Oh, that's
step
right.
number 3.
Okay, that's
3. So
You got 3,
after
Joe. Man,
after
you're
my
out.
last world title fight, Albert Pyun approached me and he said, "Hey, I've got this film that I want to do, and I think that you would be perfect for one of the lead roles, and I would love for you to at least audition with the producer and tell me what you think about being in a film, being in one of the leads." And I looked at him and I said, "I've never done acting, and I'm not interested in acting, and I don't think I would be good for it." And he goes, "Well, could you at least read for the producer? I mean, I think you'd be absolutely perfect for the role." And I said, "Okay, are you going to give me some of the script or something so I can read it beforehand and get familiar?" He goes, "Yes, I will definitely do that." They're called sides. And so anyway, he gave me some of the sides and I read them. And what I did not realize was that while he was trying to convince me to read for the producer, he was trying to convince the producer to let me read. And the producer kept saying the same thing I was saying. It's like, she doesn't act. She may be a good martial artist, but she doesn't know how to act. So what makes you think she'd be good for it? And I'm thinking the same thing. I don't act, so I'm not going to be good in this film. It was hilarious.
We got Vinny back.
What's that?
We got Vinny back. There he goes.
No, we don't.
Yeah.
We don't have him back.
Keep losing him.
Yeah.
He'll be back. He'll be back. So
He'll be back. Yep.
I go in, I sit down with the producer, and I read for him. And he goes, "Wow, that was great. You got the job." And I went, "What?"
Good.
Yeah, you got the job. So I decided to go to take some acting classes and work privately with an acting coach. Not that it helped, but hey.
Well, how many movies did you do?
Well, I've worked on Natural Born Killers, Romeo and Michelle's High School Reunion, Natural Born. Oh, I said Natural Born Killers. There was another one, Romeo and Michelle's. Oh, Death Becomes Her. I did most of the choreography and fight scenes in those films.
Okay.
Wow.
Cool.
Yeah, did an episode of Walker Texas Ranger and another show called Street Justice. What else did I do?
Well, we talked about The Stranger. That was another starring vehicle for you.
Yeah. The interesting thing about that movie was they asked me if I knew how to ride a motorcycle. And I said, sure. I didn't.
Yeah, you always say yes because you can figure it out later.
Exactly. So I immediately enrolled in a course. And then after that, I bought myself a cheap little motorcycle and was riding it every day. Which is a huge, huge, huge departure from the gigantic Harley Davidsons they had me ride.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
Really
as a martial artist, we learn to adapt to things. So
Yeah.
you know what?
another chapter.
Story of my life. Hit the ground running and figure things out as I go.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Sometimes
I didn't
that's
know
all
anything
you
about
can do.
kickboxing. I had 10 days to learn how.
Kathy, people say to me all the time, how do you learn how to?
Uh-oh. Alan, we lost you.
Give it a moment.
Okay.
I think we lost Alan.
Ruh-roh.
Okay,
Is
well,
everybody fine?
Yeah.
well, we're here. So, Joe, bring some questions up.
I'll keep going. You bet.
Keep it going.
So when I saw The Stranger, it reminded me like a female version of Clint Eastwood's movie The Man with No Name. It really had that flavor to it. Really enjoyed it. And then
Believe it or not, The Stranger is a ripoff from High Plains Drifter.
High Plains Drifter. There you go.
There you go.
Now, your third big movie was with. All right, everybody keep counting how many things I mess up with.
What are we on? 4 or 5 hours now?
Every time I do something wrong, that'll make Lewis's night. Let me tell you. But
Joe, I love you. I just believe in this sweetheart.
I know, believe me. On this show, I'm used to it. But anyway, let's talk about a really interesting film you did, and that involved well-known martial arts actor Richard Norton. I believe it's Under the Gun.
Yes.
There you go. So tell me what it was like working with Richard Norton in the film Under the Gun.
I got to tell you, he is an amazing martial artist to begin with. I mean, that's incredible. Very knowledgeable about all kinds of things. And, I think one of the most difficult times that we had on that film, not on it, but getting to it, was that he tried to, the film commission in Australia kept asking Richard Norton to bring in a top female martial artist from Australia. And they kept saying, well, we have plenty of top female actresses, martial artists. Why don't you bring in one of them? He goes, and he kept saying that, Kathy Long, they're not a 5-time world kickboxing champion. They're not a master in Kung Fu San Soo. They're not, this and this and this. And it took him months to finally convince the film commission to allow me to come over. It was that was the biggest challenge of working on that film. But once we got there, choreographing fight scenes with him is an absolute breeze, and he's just incredibly knowledgeable, and we just had a blast. It was so much fun, really a ton of fun. I'm sorry my part was so short in it. We both were, but it was a pretty amazing experience. And they say the guys in Australia are kind of dogs. They're dogs.
Yeah, we know we are. But those dogs, when they get older, then that kind of mellows out.
Yeah, I don't know.
And they start dressing like you, Dennis. Look at you. You're sharp. You're sharp. He has his closet set. Wednesday, ready to go. Ready to go.
Amen. That's the name of our network.
That's why I wear you. There's a few days I'm not wearing a karate uniform because I'm so used to wearing a uniform when I'm on this show.
I know you are. Usually you are. You're nice. You got everything.
Casual day.
You got the starch on there and everything. The belt is tight. You're ready to go. You're ready to go.
Yeah.
So Dennis, why don't you tell us a little bit about the network that you and Alan are doing? Well, because Alan right now is in limbo land.
Okay, we're going to be doing ROCO. We're going to be, hopefully, very soon, we're going to be broadcasting MMA, K1, and we've got all the classic martial art movies from Jackie Chan to even old Bruce Lee and the Shaw Brothers. And I think that the audience that we had back in the day, Kung Fu Theater, Kung Fu Matinee, we're going to try to pull that group back in. And I think this is going to be one of the biggest things that we've seen in the United States as far as martial arts exposure and entertainment that this country's ever had. I don't know why. And we're going worldwide, too, because we're in Italy, and our friends in Italy is one of my production people, and Africa, which is an untouched continent. And we have the whole continent of Africa. So we're really expanding really, really fast. So when the world sees what we're doing, they're going to be like, they did it. It's never been done before.
And you'll have Kathy's show on the network?
Oh, yeah. I didn't know she was Sang Soo. So I'm president of the International Wushu and Sang Soo Federation here in the United States. I'll give you a holler after the show. Yeah.
Things you find out about on this show. And how you stumped Joe 4 times is still an amazement to me. I mean, I'm going to be hanging on this for the next 5 years. We were going to have it, Kathy. We were going to have a show on Stump Wikipedia Joe. We were going to have a whole show there, and now we don't have to do it.
Yeah, let's do it. It's on.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. One other thing I want to ask. Let's see if I'm stumped once again because I've always said. Kathy, I've heard from several individuals over the year that at one point you were involved with one of the Batman films with Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman.
I heard
that.
Yes, that's very cool. Now, I got to tell you how I got the job. I got to tell you because it's an amazing
hear it.
story. Okay. I was this is while I was still competing professionally, and Benny the Jet Yakitas calls me and he says, "Hey, Kat, my stunt team, we did the first Batman, and we're going to be doing the second Batman as far as stunts and all kinds of stuff for people." And he goes, "They're looking for a fight double for Michelle Pfeiffer. I think that you should audition." And I said, "All right, what the heck?" So he gives me a name at Warner Brothers Studios, and he sets up a meeting for me. So I drive from Bakersfield all the way to Burbank, which is about 120 miles. Wow. And I walk in to Warner Brothers lot, and oh my God, it's ginormous. And I have this, I have my pass on, and I have a piece of paper with the number of the building and the name of the person I'm meeting, Max Clevens. And I'm walking around trying to find this building and looking at the numbers, and I'm just totally lost. So I see this kind of straggly-haired guy with a wife-beater tank top on and a button-up shirt with skulls all over it. It's a white shirt with black skulls all over it. And I said, "Excuse me, sir, I'm having difficulty finding this building. Do you have any idea where it could be?" And he looks at it and he goes, "Oh, yeah, I know right where that is." He goes, "Let me take you over there." So he's walking me over there, and he goes, "So what are you here for?" I said, "Well, I'm going to be meeting with Max Clevens, the stunt coordinator, about possibly doubling Michelle Pfeiffer." And he goes, "Oh, okay, well, great. Good luck to you." So he walks me to the building. He looks up there, and he goes, "Go up there. It's the first door on the right-hand side. Go up the stairs." And I said, "No problem, thank you." And he goes, "Hey, good luck." So I go up the stairs, and this is, while I was still competing. So I was 125 pounds, shredded. And I walk in with the shorts and a tank top on. And I walk in, Max Clevens is sitting in his office. And he looks at me and he goes, "Oh my God, not another fat chick. Can you just go lift a weight or do something?" So I laughed. I said, "Oh, you mean the Oreos I've been eating are finally showing?" So we have a good rapport right from the beginning. And he goes, "All right, kid, what do you got?" So I walk in and I said, "Well, all I have is this VHS tape of one of my fights." He goes, "All right, kid." So he pops it in. This is when there was VHS, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You bet.
So he pops it in and he's watching my fight. And the phone rings. So he picks up the phone. He goes, "Yes. Oh, yes, sir. Yeah. Yes, I can do that. Okay. Okay, bye." So he hangs up the phone. He goes, "All right, kid, I need you to go downstairs and do some moves so I can see what you can do." That's the way he said it. So I run downstairs and I see that young man that, had the straggly hair and the wife beater tank top and the skull shirt. And I thought to myself, well, if cameras are on me, I can't look at him. So I just got to do my thing. So I was shadow boxing, punching, kicking, elbowing, kneeing, and moving around. And I see him watching and I'm thinking, God, I hope I don't look like an idiot. So the guy upstairs, Max Clevens, he goes, "Okay, kid, come upstairs." So I run upstairs and I walk in the office and he says, "All right, so we got a wardrobe meeting at a Wednesday. You got to be here by noon and you're going to meet Michelle and we're going to measure everything." And I said, "I'm sorry, what?" He goes, "You got the job, kid." As I walk down the stairs, I see the guy with the straggly hair and he goes, "How'd you do?" And I said, I was speechless. I didn't know what to say. It's like, "I got the job." He goes, "Wow, that's fantastic. So I'll see you later." And he leaves and I leave. And I come back on the next week, Wednesday, and he's there. And it's Tim Burton.
Ah, look at that.
Yeah. And it was Tim Burton who.
I thought he was trying to hit on you. I don't know.
Hey, who knows?
He was like, "Hey, how you doing, Kathy Long?"
He's a nice guy. And, I got to say, working with Michelle Pfeiffer, because when I got the job, I had 3 weeks before a fight. It wasn't a title fight, but it was a fight on Showtime at Harrah's in Lake Tahoe.
Oh, okay.
And I said to the production company, I said, "Look, I've got a fight in about 3 weeks. I promise I'm not going to get beat up." Of course, you can't really promise that, but whatever. I said it. But as soon as I'm done with that fight, then I'm all yours for as long as you need me. And they said, "Oh, that's fine. You can do that, no problem." So a couple of weeks go by. Everything seems fine. I check in with Warner Brothers. Everything's good. And then I fly to Lake Tahoe, and we're there contractually 10 days before the fight to acclimate to the altitude and everything else. So about 3 days or 4 days before the fight, we get a call from Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers says, "Excuse me, Michelle Pfeiffer wants to train with you. Can you come in tomorrow?" They have this kid, whoever was calling me, had no idea that I was already in Lake Tahoe getting ready for my fight. And I said, "Yes, I'll be there. What time?" He goes, 2:00 in the afternoon. I said, 2:00 in the afternoon. "Okay, tomorrow, right?" Yes. "She'd like to see you tomorrow." "Okay, thank you." Click. And I'm like, crap.
Thank God for that motorcycle. Thank God for the motorcycle lessons, right?
That's when you need that hard.
I know it's a long trip.
So I beg, borrow, and scrape together whatever money I can to get an emergency flight back. And I'm in the Burbank airport. I see this little white mug with a black cat on it looking all fierce and going, right? And beneath it, the caption read, "Piss me off, suffer the consequences."
Ooh.
And I thought, wow, maybe Michelle would like this because it's, black cat, right? So I go over there and I get to the trailer and the door's ajar by this much. And I'm about to knock on the door when I hear her, Michelle Pfeiffer, inside. She's livid. She is so freaking angry that somebody had apparently done something that really screwed up something else. And I don't remember what it was, but she was really, really, really mad. And all I could hear her was just whoever's on the other end. I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm glad that's not me. Right?
Did you go in there and say, I have a mug for you?
Well, that's exactly what I did. But I waited until there was a break in the conversation, and I quickly knocked on the door. She comes to the door, she opens the door quickly, and then she looks at me and she goes, oh my God, how long have you been standing there? I went, long enough to know that somebody really did something bad. And she said, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry you had to hear all that. I said, hey, it does happen, and I'm sorry. And I said, but I got you a mug.
I got your kitty cat mug.
He's offering. Here you go. I'm sorry.
She probably started laughing because of what you just witnessed, too.
Not only that, but she took the mug and she pulled it out of the packaging. And she goes, oh my God, this is perfect. Thank you so much. And she kept that mug with her the entire time throughout the filming of the movie.
Nice. She probably still has it.
I don't know if she does or not, but it'd be cool if she did. And the one more cool thing that she did, and we'll go on to something else, or somebody else will come in. But she found out later that I had spent my own money and left Lake Tahoe just to come to train with her, and it was an unscheduled training session. Even though the guy on the phone said that she wanted to train with me, they had actually told her that I was coming in to train with her. So the guy told me one story, and they told her another story.
The BS train rolls on.
The BS, yeah. Right? So she found out that I scraped together whatever money I could and left, Tahoe just to come train with her for the day and then fly back.
Wow.
And she went to the production company, which was, MGM and Warner Brothers and Paramount. And she said to Warner Brothers, I want her paid for every single day of the shoot, whether she works or she doesn't work. I want her paid.
That was nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, that was an investment that paid off for you.
Yeah.
That's one hell of a way of saying thank you.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. I mean, everybody at Warner Brothers, my car got broken into, my stereo got ripped out. And you know what they did? They handed me a check for a new stereo.
Look at
And
that.
they didn't have to do that. They didn't, because there's signs everywhere in the parking lot saying, keep your valuables, don't leave valuables in the car. And, my stereo got stolen.
It's in your car. It's part of your car.
Well, you can't
Yeah,
think it. I mean, I guess you have the ones that you can pull out, but I'm sure you didn't have it at that.
Right.
No, I didn't have it at that time.
Yeah.
But, they handed me $1,000 and said, here, go buy yourself a stereo and an alarm.
Well, that was nice of them. That's probably one of the better experiences that I've heard, because a lot of times, other people don't care. They don't care. Do your job and that's it, that type of thing. But it seems like you had a fantastic experience there, and that's great.
I had one of the best experiences I could ever imagine having. I mean, I worked so closely with Tim Burton and Michelle Pfeiffer and Michael Keaton, and of course, Michael Keaton's fight double, whose name is escaping me, British guy. But,
David Leah.
What's that?
David Leah.
David Leah.
David?
How would you know? But you know what? I think you may be right. Joe.
On the film.
I follow. You asked me, Wikipedia Joe,
Yeah.
David Leah.
Yeah.
Leah.
Ask Wikipedia Joe.
Yeah.
I think his last name was Lee.
Yep, that's David. Yeah, he was one of the more popular actors. He had been featured in a couple of movies throughout the 1980s in different capacities through Canon Films and whatnot. Yep. Well, you worked with two members of the United Kingdom contingent, because in Knights you worked with Gary Daniels.
Yes, I did.
Wow.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Gary Daniels. We all went whitewater rafting on one of our days off, and we hit a big bump and the whole raft would just went up like this, and then it crashed and hit hard, and I flew out, and I still had my hand on the rope, and my body's in the water, and Gary Daniels just reached over, grabbed me, and yanked me up out of the water like I was a fish. Set me down.
Wow. Wow. Yeah.
That boy is strong.
See, Joe, you're redeeming yourself a little bit. We may have to bring you down to 3.5.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, Gary. I know. Now, Gary also got injured on the set of that, if I'm not mistaken. I was talking with him about that once, and that was a tough shoot. And people don't realize some of the stars, like you had Christopher Christopherson in the film, which was at the time a pretty big deal. I mean, and it was incredible that Albert Pune backed you in regards to that. It's a really interesting film.
Yeah. Good thing about Chris Christopherson, or I don't know if it was good or not, but he was pretty much very stoned every day of the shoot.
Nice.
No.
He walked by his trailer, and he was just reeking of marijuana. And at that time, we're in Moab, Utah. I mean, nobody cared. But he was stoned a lot. But the nice thing was we got to hang out and put up a campfire on the weekend and pull out the guitars and sing.
Kumbaya.
And play. It was awesome. Yeah, it was wonderful.
And he brought the special stuff, so it became a party. Okay, I get it.
Yeah, I don't smoke marijuana, but several people there did, and they had a great time.
Hey, as long as everybody was happy.
Yeah, everybody was happy.
Good, Joe. What was your next question?
Well, now after your kickboxing career completed and you had been involved in films, you got very much involved in the bodyguard business. Again, originally being with Bouncer, I was told that you bodyguard work and executive security and protective services, things of that nature.
Yep. To pretty extensive levels. I've done anything from working with the Saudis to governors and mayors to CEOs and companies, you name it, I've done it in that respect. We worked with a company called At Risk when we had all our troops in the sandbox. Wow. So the Army bases all around the United States did not have enough personnel, meaning to man the gates in their own bases. So there was a group of us that were working under a company called At Risk, and we were actually going into each state and training civilians to work on them to man the bases so that there would at least be people at the gates making sure that everything's done properly. And because it was a pretty hot time, when all of our troops were over there.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Let me ask you a question, Kathy. When you were working with the Saudis, how was that experience? Because I know, they have a reputation of not adhering to women, but you're one of the toughest on the planet, so maybe that was a different experience.
I think because I'm just highly intuitive in that respect. So I've learned not to. I mean, if you knew me in the early stages of my career and my life, I was painfully shy, and it was very difficult for me to learn how to speak to people. But because of that, I was highly observant, and I would watch and just observe and listen and pay attention to what's going on and how they are. It didn't matter how I was. I needed to see how they were so that I could respond accordingly. And not necessarily to become a chameleon, but to at least show the respect that's required. Now, having said that, I have fired myself a few times because I will not tolerate being mistreated, so to speak.
Right.
There were several families. I mean, we're looking at 8,000 to 10,000 members of the royal Saudi family at this point. Mm-hmm. And they keep a geneticist handy because there's a lot of inbreeding, which is really unfortunate and true. But let's just say I've worked with the high ups, the ones on the high on the food chain, and I've worked with the ones low on the food chain. And the ones that are high up on the food chain, money is not an issue. Now, keep in mind, every royal member of the Saudi family gets paid money. Depending on where they are on the food chain,
Right.
there's more or less money. But they do get paid to be royal. You know, as a royalty, they get paid, period. That's it. So, you know, who knows how much it is? It's probably more than we make, but whatever.
Yeah, definitely.
The ones who are high up on the food chain, they treat you with respect, and they make sure that you're taken care of because you are essentially taking care of them.
Right.
Right?
And I had asked that question because I know, you know, I'm not talking about the security business, but in business in general, you have a lot of women that are with, you know, companies, and they maybe they run their own company and they are dealing with, Saudis, and their experiences vary, you know, and I'm thinking maybe because you have that input that you can kind of give them some guidance on how to handle that without causing a ripple.
What causes a ripple, especially with Saudis, is trying to become their friend. As soon as that happens, they fire you, or they'll continue that term with them, whether you're with them for a month or 3 months or 6 months. They may continue using you during that time, or they'll reach out to the handler, because there's usually a handler in between, the middleman, and they'll tell the middleman, I don't like her, I don't want her here. And it's because they don't, especially the older ones don't want you to become friends with their children, or even the people that work around them. They don't want you to become friends with them.
They just want you to do your job and go home.
Exactly.
Okay.
And you're polite and you're courteous, but you're there to do your job, not to be their friend. Period. Now, there are a few members of the royal Saudi family whom I had made friends with, but you know, it wasn't because I tried to. It's just that they would invite me back every summer. Every summer that they came to, you know, LA, they would invite me back.
But they would initiate that building of a friendship, not you.
They initiated it,
right.
Yes. And I think it all started when I tried to explain to them that I lived in, at that time when I was working with them, I lived in Burbank, California, and they were in West LA. And they didn't understand that, yes, Burbank, California is considered Los Angeles, but they didn't understand that I didn't know West LA at all.
That's like a different country, but go ahead.
You know, it is. It's totally like a different country.
Yeah.
And I tried to explain to them that we're talking several hundred miles, or at least 200 miles, or whatever the miles is, right? Let's just say. So I don't frequent this area very often. I'm not, you know, driving down Beverly Hills every day, and I don't know this area very well. So, but the children were teenagers, and because they were fun loving, they liked having fun. So I said, look, as long as you don't mind that I use a GPS on my phone, the maps on my phone, as long as you don't mind that, then I'll take you anywhere you want to go. So with them, it became kind of a game. Oh, we would all have Google Maps. Okay, who can who can pull it up faster than anybody else, right? Well, my directions are better than your directions, right? And we would play and have a game with it. And they, for some reason, they were very kind in that respect, as opposed to judgmental. Like, why don't you know where you're going? Why don't you know where this is? Why don't you blah, 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 right? Which is the typical attitude of most Saudis if you don't know where you're going. And that's why, you know, even people who are the drivers, they would have their phone underneath, you know, it's sitting in their lap, and they just glance down at the maps because, you know, they're expected to know exactly where every fucking place is.
Right.
And they've heard about it because their relatives have been there. And they go to the nicest restaurants or the nicest hotels or the nicest underground clubs, which there are. And if you don't know where they are, then they get really indignant and upset.
Wow.
Yeah, weird. So
It's just a different culture, and dealing with it, you have to have an idea how to deal with it if you're looking to do business there or looking to work with them in any way.
you're right. And,
Yeah.
after years and years and years of working with the Saudis, I discovered over the period of time that they usually have the money man. The money man is the one with the big old satchel that he has strapped over his shoulder with tons of cash and usually Black American Express cards. Right? So they could buy buildings, they could buy houses, they could buy neighborhoods if they wanted to, with either the cash that the guy kept on him or the Black American Express cards. Right?
I think the black card better.
Yeah, no kidding. But what I realized is that the kids had security, the parents had security, everybody had security but the money man. So that's the guy you bump off.
Yeah, look at that. It's good insight for anybody that's listening.
All right.
Yeah, me.
Told the whole world.
Look for the bag man, Joe. Look for the bag man.
If wanted to go, they would be by themselves. So, you could get a couple of people with vans and just block them in and get in the car and
Look, Joe's actually taking notes. And
Me, I know what part of the episode we're editing now.
and these money guys, they're usually former military or they're former police or they're current, but it doesn't matter. They're by themselves with no weapon.
Right.
And even if they did have a weapon, we all know how to take them away, right? So, yeah.
And just for anybody that's listening, we're joking around. We're not looking to go take the bag man. Not
Yeah,
today,
but, if you happen to be watching kids, now one of the things you never ever ever do, which we did all the time, but you never do it, is have one agent for 2 people or 3 people, meaning one agent for 3 kids.
That's kind of tough.
Now,
Oh, yeah.
the 3 kids you usually have a nanny, but no agent should ever work 1 against 3, with 3 people as their client. It just doesn't work that way and drive for them. So we're talking, they're worse than Jews as far as Jewing people down on price. Like, no, I don't want to hire a driver. I don't want to, you have to watch my nanny. And, you want this much? No, I'm gonna bring it down. How about this much instead? And it's like
let's make a deal. Let's make a deal.
Let's make a deal. Yeah.
They're bad. Really bad.
Let's make a deal.
The worst nanny Jew I've ever met.
That's funny. That's funny. Joe, do you have any other questions to redeem yourself for the 5-time world kickboxing champion?
Yeah, Joe, you heard it wrong.
Liver pills.
You're at 3.5. You're at 3.5. Let's see what you got.
Well, obviously, Kathy, we're on social media. With Vero Hive, we have the Alan Goldberg Power Hour. Now, recently, you and Sifu, the Jesus, have put together a wonderful podcast that you've been running for quite a while now. Can you tell us about the name of the program, how it got all together, and how you got involved in the project?
Well, her and a very good friend of hers, Robert Deal, who is also a martial artist. Robert Deal actually brought up the idea. He goes, you should do a podcast because you're really good at, speaking to people and getting things going. You should run a podcast. And so the 2 of them decided to put it together and call it Dynamic Dojo Talk Radio or Talk TV. And Rusty, Sifu Rastida, or Rusty is what I call her. She, was the mastermind behind the camera and putting together the show, producing it all, and making it all work. And he was her co-host for a long, long time. And when he stepped down from that, she asked me if I would come aboard. And I said, sure, why not? What the heck? So we've been doing that together, maybe a couple years now. But it got started because he liked the way that she was always good about speaking to people. And she was, she's an arbitrator and a mediator for a lot of groups and stuff like that. And she happens to be really good at it. So he just said, hey, why don't you start a show? So they did. It's been going on for almost 10 years now. I've only been a part of it for the last couple of years.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, Joe, that wasn't a stumping question, so you got off scot-free tonight, okay? You got off scot-free. We leave you at
Wait a
3.5, and you have to
This
redeem
is what
yourself
I
next
go
week.
through.
Well,
This is what I go through
at least I didn't go into your talking mustache.
Yeah, you do. What?
That mustache doesn't start talking by itself. It starts creating all types of comical things. But anyway, in closing, of course, Alan should be here, but he has some technical difficulties, so we're going to close out the show. And Dennis, let's start with you. I want to end with you, Kathy. Dennis, start with you. Any closing words?
I want to thank all of you for tuning in, and thank you, Kathy. I'll be looking forward to seeing you. I want to talk to you a little bit later. And Kempo Joe, you on a roll. Make it 5.
I love it. All right, Joe. Closing words.
Kathy, again, it's great. It's great seeing everybody, obviously, here on Vero Hive. Kathy, thank you so much for being a guest this evening. I got to thank Alan Goldberg because I would have never met Kathy. We have a mutual friend in Massachusetts, Paul Servici, who you've been doing some seminars for him in Massachusetts. I'm really happy that you got to meet through Action Martial Arts. Really enjoying Dynamic Dojo. As you know, I've been on the show occasionally visiting, and I really enjoy the format. And I'm really glad I got the chance to talk to you about your life and career here on the Alan Goldberg Power Hour. And thank you, Lewis, of course.
Hey,
Yeah,
Joe, thank you for being stumped. You made my night. Trust me. Now, Kathy, closing words.
I'm just incredibly grateful to be a part of anything that you guys are doing. And what a great show. And I'm just going to talk about this to everybody. If you have any kind of advertisements that I can post on Facebook and Instagram or whatever else, please let me know what it is, or just email me something and I'll blast it.
Awesome,
Looking forward
Kathy.
to sharing this.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I have your email, so I'm going to email you. And with that said, I want to thank everyone for tuning in. And again, Alan had technical difficulties, but that's okay. We carried the show. We did good. We had some fun with Joe, information from Dennis, and of course, the great Kathy Long bringing in all the information, making it better and better every week, getting better and better. The Action Martial Arts Power Hour is going strong. Alan Goldberg has put together a killer squad, and we're doing this every week, every Wednesday. And thank you guys for tuning in. And everyone, Kathy, Joe, Dennis, thank you. And stay with me, and you guys make sure to catch the other episodes of the Power Hour and future episodes. Support it.
Yay.
Support the Action Martial Arts Network that's coming out. It's going to be crazy. Thank you again.
Yay. Looking forward to it.